All right, cool. So welcome to the first inaugural Engage Your Fan Base podcast that we're hosting on the platform. It is October 9th at 10:45 in the morning. It will usually be on Thursdays at 1 o'clock, but this is take two because we had technical difficulties yesterday. It's a learning process. And we have Adam Ezra of Adam Ezra Group out of Boston. And I'm really excited to have him here to talk about how he and his band are using Periscope to connect with fans. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. And I am so sorry. Things got so screwed up.
Oh, no, don't worry about it. You know, it's funny. Yesterday there was a Blab podcast conference that was on Blab that I watched for a while. And there's this guy that was promoting he's putting up some tips, 100 tips, and he's asking people to put in Blab tips. And I'm going to put in my tip is going to be, get ready ahead of time with your technology with people who haven't used Blab before, including myself.
Yeah.
So, prepare so that when you say you're going to go live, you can actually do that.
That's right. That's a good idea.
So it's a learning process. But so anyway, let's get into the meaty things. I have a few questions and mostly, but I want this just to be a discussion, not so much an interview. Are you taping this? What are you doing with the phone?
I'm periscoping it. What do you think I'm doing, Kara?
That was so stupid of me. That's awesome. All right, fabulous. So, so when did you get started with Periscope?
We are still super new to Periscope. So
everybody's super new to Periscope.
We're pretty super new. Right. It's all, we're figuring it all out.
Yeah.
But I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, something
really?
like that.
Has it been that little?
Maybe a month ago. I don't know. I can't remember. It's all a blur, Kara. But it's, less than 2 months, for sure.
Yeah. And how did you hear about it?
I do know this one. And I know exactly when we started using Periscope. It was a week before Labor Day. I was doing an interview with a radio station up in New Hampshire to promote our charity festival, the Ramble, and they were periscoping, and
I think I saw that.
Yeah, and the DJ there, Greg, a friend of mine, said, "Adam, you gotta do this. It's pretty fun." So we've been doing it ever since.
So, what has been your experience? Are you loving it? Are there things you like, things you don't like? What are you doing with it?
I dig Periscope because it lets people get kind of more access to us, and that's something that makes me feel good. Letting folks that follow us and like us kind of see what we're doing in our day-to-day. Like, for instance, right, officially this interview looks like what the screen looks like. But if you're following me on Periscope, you can actually see me, but you can see the actual shitty room that I'm staying in. So you can actually see literally behind what is going on in the interview. And so to me, that's kind of like a metaphor for what Periscope allows you to do with your fans. Yeah. They get a glimpse into kind of the reality of things for us on the road as we tour.
Yeah, I think, the point of the blog that I've started, Engage Your Fan Base, is to help musicians figure out how to connect more with their fan base. And I think that's what Periscope is doing for you guys, especially. I mean, I remember the one that I watched the longest was when you guys ran out of gas.
Yeah.
And, it might seem silly on the surface, but I mean, you connect with people that way. You're human, And sometimes musicians, they want to step back and be like, I'm the star, and there's this. There used to be this space in between before social media, there was a space in between the artist and the fan, and now, it's just gotten smaller and smaller. And it seems like Periscope is this really great way and especially for you, I think that you specifically are such a friendly, engaging personality that seems like a perfect fit for you. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, this kind of stuff is a good fit for me. Not all musicians, So we once opened up for Dwight Yoakam,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember, and it was down in Indian Ranch in Webster,
Mm-hmm.
Massachusetts, and I remember Dwight did not come out of his trailer until right before the show, and when he came out and walked to the stage, it was like this kind of like open campus kind of thing. So the artists had to kind of walk through the area where the fans were to get to the stage.
Yeah, I've seen that.
He had like 7 bodyguards circling him. Walked right to the stage, didn't talk to anyone, didn't look at anyone, got up onto the stage. And there was something about that added to his mystique. There was something about that made him larger than life. And when he got on stage, he would start playing, and when he did one little twist of his ankle, people went nuts, right? Because it was there was an adoration there, right? He was godlike to these fans that were at this show. So the thing that inspires me about art and about music is communicating my own humanity and flaws and fallibility. And one of our goals as a band is to break down all those barriers that help Dwight Yoakam become larger than life. We like to kind of break them down. So if we're playing a small show like we did last night in Evansville, Indiana, we walk off the stage and we play some songs in the room, and the songs that we sing about, the songs that I write, usually are pretty personal. And so I think Periscope and a lot of forms of social media really kind of help to allow somebody like me to continue to break down those barriers.
Yeah, I agree. So one of the things about Blab is that people can jump in. And so we have someone who wants to call in, and I'm going to let her do that and see what happens with that. Is that cool?
Sounds great.
All right. I think it's Sandra, but I'm not sure.
Sandora. I know Sandora.
You know Sandora. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Sandora is awesome.
Who is Sandora?
She's a fan.
Cool.
Fan and now friend.
Cool. Hi, Sandora.
This is new. It's like FaceTime.
Yeah, it's kind of FaceTime-ish, kind of Skype-ish. But everybody gets to watch, so it's kind of Periscope-ish. Looks like you got a bad connection.
Is that what was happening with me yesterday?
Yeah.
Sandora, you're blowing it. You're blowing it.
Well, maybe if she can't come in, maybe you can give us some comments and ask us some questions.
Hold it.
I think I hear
her.
Whoa.
Are you on the phone? All right. Sandora, how about you write us some questions and then try to get in a little later, okay? I'm gonna, you can try again later.
Sorry, Sandora.
But, you can type in comments and stuff. So if you have some questions or comments, go ahead and type them in. Can you see those comments over there too, Adam, right?
No.
On your right, it should have all kinds of...
Oh my God, there are comments here.
Yep. And you got some claps already. That's some props. So don't forget to give people props. So anyway, I think what you're saying is spot on, that it's really about breaking down barriers, and in the new, music industry, the way that things have gone, like being able to connect with your fans like that is really what's going to get you, to that next level, really. And
I don't, you know what? I can't say that. I can't speak as an expert because I'm a starving, scraping by artist myself. That's what we do, and that
yeah, but
makes
that's
me
what's
happy.
gotten you. I know. I'm talking from a different perspective from you, but that's how it's gotten you all these people who are coming in right now because they want to see you.
Yeah, and that is awesome. But there are, I just will say that in this world of like hyper connectivity, being super connected to everybody as an artist isn't always the best move for an artist. And I know part of what your mission is here is to help other artists and people kind of figure out their own strategy for social media, connecting with fans, and for those people, I would say to really think about yourself as an artist and what kind of artist you want to be, because not everybody needs to be a hyper connected artist like me. That's what I
tiring.
like.
It's gotta be really. It's gotta be tiring and really difficult. You know.
Yeah, it can be tiring and it can be difficult, but mostly it's just we put artists up on pedestals, right? Take Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. When he is on stage, he is a superhuman wacko guy from another planet, right? Like he's absurd. He doesn't even, like, in a beautiful way. I'm a fan of his. But if he was doing an interview in his pajamas like me, right now, kind of looking like this and being natural, and it makes him human again. It makes him normal, and his whole thing is being more than normal.
It's about your brand, really, kind of, you know.
It is exactly about your brand, which is that's what I'm saying. And so so to me, Periscope, being able to be having, broken down or run out of gas on the side of the road and letting our fans see what's happening is awesome. It's awesome. That's what I want people to experience. I want people to experience. And when I play songs, it's an attempt to have people experience my life. And that's what fills me up about art. And but not all artists. And so, and that's all I would say is that it's not always that being more connected is better. It is for me.
Well, a lot of, the tips, if you look out there, I had, looked up a lot of musicians' tips for periscoping, and they're suggesting things, like broadcasting live shows, broadcasting, backroom scenes and green room scenes, or, when you're broken down on the side of the road, or, recording sessions, creative process, all these great tips. I think you bring up a really good point that that's not appropriate for everybody. Sometimes, for Steven Tyler, it would be appropriate to maybe Periscope, but Periscope, doing something crazy, or, it's about periscoping what's appropriate for your brand, your brand. And
that's right.
And I say brand in a way that's, not, I'm not trying to be marketing speak as much as, like, what's your personality, and what part of you do you want people to feel when you're connecting with them in whatever way that is. So
I think that's right. But if you are an artist that wants to be beautiful, then don't let people see you when you first crawl out of bed, right? That's because you want them to envision you as beautiful. And so when you interact with fans, be beautiful. I like being ugly. Like
that would be hard to do, Adam.
Oh, thanks. But like, I just even like kind of metaphorically, like, right? I love the messiness of life. I find beauty in that. And so it's fine for my countenance to reflect that messiness, you know. And
I think there's a lot of artists that are like you, though, that agree with that. And I think that a lot of the, you know, DIY musicians are in that place. Maybe not to the same degree, and I think that you're more personable than a lot of artists. You know, there's a lot of artists in between. You know, there's a lot of artists in between you and Steven Tyler. You know,
totally. That's exactly what I like. How I wanted to answer your question. That it's not that I feel like helping artists that are trying to figure it out. And I would say not necessarily use this way of connecting and use this way of connecting because they're really, really helpful. I would say figure out how deeply and honestly or how raw your connection with your fans should be with you. Figure out that, answer that question about your own brand, right? About who you want to be as an artist, and then use social media to reflect that.
And it takes some thought. It takes some real thought. You know, a lot of times, you know, when you talk to bands and you ask questions like, so who are your fans? Or like anybody who likes music, or, you know, like, you know, people haven't really thought through a lot of these questions, and they're really important questions. Like what do you want? How do you want to be perceived by your fans? What part of your personality and the personality of your band is, and what does that mean to people? And how do you translate that in, you know, it's not a matter of just being like, okay, I have a band, so I need to jump on Facebook, or you know, Periscope's the newest thing, so I need to jump on it. But it's more nuanced than that, I think, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I'm asking some really personal and hard questions of myself as an artist these days. Why am I playing music? What inspires me? Why have I decided to live my life in a van traveling around the country playing for people every day? Why am I writing songs, and how do I want to connect with other people? And part of that is the social media. Part of that is what kind of art do I want to create? And if art is the sharing of the experience of being human in one way or another, then social media is part of the art form.
That was poetic.
Thanks. A little deep for this early in the morning, but that's what happens when I'm overtired.
Let me see if I have any more specific questions. And I haven't seen any comments lately. If anybody has some questions for Adam, let us know. Like technically, I know people might have tuned in specifically. I mean, we got into like a whole theoretical branding conversation, which I really love. But like just like you know, nuts and bolts. How have you found? Just one moment, Michael. How have you found the app? Like, what do you like about it? What do you not like about it? Like, how like Blab? I mean, we figured out yesterday that there's some technical things to figure out. Have you found issues?
I don't know. You know, we're still figuring out how to use Periscope. One of the challenges is that it goes away, right? It's like it's there for a day and then it's gone.
Are you using Catch.me?
There's not a lot of people using it. And so, you know, when we do a post on Facebook, it can get seen by 10,000 people. When we do a thing on Periscope, it maybe gets seen by 50 people. And so
Are you using Catch.me yet?
No.
So there's a website called Catch.me, where you log in and it logs in your Periscope information and it automatically captures that video and gives you a link that you can then blast out to your social media.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll
Guy
adopt that.
side of it, but
Yeah, and and Karina in our band does a lot of our periscoping, and a lot of our feeds are oftentimes, if I'm doing something acoustic on set and Karina hops off the stage, she'll periscope. She'll periscope that. One thing that I really like is that if we are in West Virginia, where we don't have any fans or followers and we're periscoping, the people that are periscoping in that area will just, they don't have to follow us to see our feed, and so we can connect with new people through using Periscope. And I believe,
is your feed like showing up in their like feed, like potential things to watch because you're close?
Yeah, you can see geographically who else is using Periscope in your immediate vicinity.
Oh, okay, I see.
So in fact, I think most of the people that tune in to us when we're traveling around the country, because we don't have a lot of followers using Periscope, most of the people, my phone died. My Periscope feed just died.
That's the thing I don't like about Periscope. It sucks your battery.
Does it?
You haven't noticed that? Oh my God, yes.
No, like I said, we mostly do it through Karina's phone. So,
yeah, at the Ramble, I was trying to Periscope the Ramble, and it was like I was running around like a mad woman trying to find a plug. It was insane. Adam, Michael here wanted to ask you. It's not related to Periscope, but did you see
I'm reading that, and that's Above the Rim handle.
Yep.
Very cool. And speaking of people that are following us, although we just lost them, we're in Evansville, Indiana right now, where we played last night, and there was a couple, Rick and Elizabeth, that drove up from Montgomery, Alabama, to see the show, which I thought was really cool. And they were out late at the show, and they were following on Periscope this morning. I wanted to give them a shout out. Michael, you know what? I have not hung out in the city of Manchester a ton, but we've played some really cool spots. Veteran Park, I've had a blast playing shows at, and I also have done the Buzzball at the Palace Theater there a couple years in a row, and that's a really cool old theater.
He said, I saw you there.
All right. That's cool. Well, when Kara was asking about how I got started with Periscope, Greg from the Morning Buzz was the guy that I was hanging with who told me to use Periscope. See, it all comes around. It all comes back to Manchester, New Hampshire, Michael.
Well, Michael, if you want to see him again, he's going to be close to Manchester on Halloween at the Stone Church.
That's right. We'll be in Newmarket, New Hampshire on Halloween, buddy. But we'll be even closer to you. Not to take away from
I know, come on.
the Halloween promotion. I apologize, but I play shows all over New Hampshire, and we're playing one in Londonderry for New Year's Eve at Tupelo Music Hall. So
I was not aware of that. Great.
Yeah. So, and that'll be really great. I know that that tickets for the Halloween show, I think because it's a little bit closer, going pretty quick. But Tupelo also sells out when we play there usually. So make sure to get your tickets in advance.
So what is your plan going forward with Periscope? I mean, are you guys are still figuring stuff out? Are you going to do a lot of the same, or?
Honestly, our plan is to see if it takes off or not, because it's not, at a certain point, we spend so much time connecting with fans. The purpose for doing social media is to connect with fans. So connecting to, for instance, if I think this interview that you're doing is awesome, and I am super excited that about your mission and your reason for wanting to interview me and your reason for trying to do these interviews in general. If I had interviews like this every single day and the reach was only to, a handful of people, and I was getting 3 hours of sleep a night, then it wouldn't be sustainable for me to do. So that's kind of the same thing with Periscope. There's only so many kind of social media devices that a person can commit to. Periscope right now I would say is a fun experiment, and the jury is out. I don't know if it's, if it takes off, awesome, because then when we're periscoping, we can be reaching a few thousand people maybe. But for right now, it's really brand new.
So how many people are you guys reaching each scope?
I would say, I mean, it depends on the Periscope. It depends on how exciting the Periscope is too. I think I had like 6 people following.
Well, what do you
think?
What's an exciting scope? Like, what ones are you seeing people?
I don't know. It's kind of different. That running out of gas was a popular one, and a lot of what we're doing on Periscope is I'm playing music. I mean, one of the things that I love to do is just fuck around with an acoustic guitar, and so when we can capture that on film, people react to it. Especially, I don't think the world has really kind of figured out how to like selfie video well at this point, right? Like this is like the self video is brand new. It's just like the very first couple of people that started like taking selfies and posting them around the internet, like you figure it out, and so a lot of the Periscope stuff is pretty fucking boring, including ours, I think sometimes, but it's also, it's awesome. It's real. And that's what I like about it. Yeah.
I would be interested to see if your scopes that are more like backstage acoustic type stuff versus live show stuff versus side of the road, real human people stuff. I wonder, I'd be interested to see which ones would be the most popular, would captures people's attention more, and who that captures, because I'll wager that the people that stayed on for your gas on the side of the road were probably fans who wanted to connect with you versus, when you were talking about the people in the radius around Evansville.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I know we have some fans that are following us there, but I think right now the number of people watching us is more dependent on where we are, and if a lot of people are using Periscope in the area and like see that we're periscoping and just check it out, and also the time of day. So the more people that are, I mean, it's like any social media device, the more people that are engaged in it, the more action we'll get. Now there's another factor with Periscope, which is retention. So
like channels.
What was that?
It's like flipping channels.
It's like flipping channels, right? So so in some ways, the longer your feed is, the more chance people have to connect and see that you're periscoping and jump onto the feed and interact with you. But the more boring what you're doing is, the more people are going to say, kind of check it out and be like, okay, I'm going to move on. So that, it's interesting. It's certainly interesting.
Yeah, it certainly is quite an experiment. I think it's a cool experiment, but let me see. So I mean, let's just wrap up a little bit. Do you have any tips for people who want to use this with their, with your limited so far knowledge about Periscope and and what you're doing with it. Anything that, little tips, big tips. I mean, you had said, figure out what you want to, your brand first, I think is probably what you were saying before.
Yeah, I guess that that I would say with Periscope, people are your fans. It's great to give people insight into your life, but people are your fans because they love the art that you make. So I guess what we're trying to do is, if we're periscoping, for it to be relatively interesting for people to watch, if it's not going to be about the art that we're making, or for it to be artistic somehow, or involving music. And that could be, our drummer sitting at a table, doing some like crazy like hand slapping thing, or it could be me playing a guitar somewhere, or it could be us at a show watching the opener, or if we had just opened up watching the headliner, but us actually on tour, setting up at a club, so people are getting insight connected into the music and the art that they're following, rather than like maybe making somebody watch me eat a bowl of cereal or something like that. Who knows? Maybe that would be good. Maybe people would love that. I have no idea. I'm like so not a social media guru, and we don't have a ton of, there are artists out there who you will interview at some point, I'm sure, Kara, that have tens of thousands of followers on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, and they're switching to Periscope, and that will be a lot. I think they will be able to give you better data, because
I don't think so, because I think it's so new. I think that you guys are doing a real grassroots effort, and I think that you're figuring it out just like everybody else is. And I think that the takeaway from today really is understanding your brand, in not just jumping on to the newest thing, which I found out about Periscope, and I was like, oh my god, we have to try this, and I came to the Ramble, and I was like, oh my god, I have to Periscope the Ramble. But really, the best way to attack any kind of new social media, and Blab, as one of them as well, is really understand what your brand is, and what your personality is, and what you're trying to portray about yourself, and make sure that it's a fit.
Yeah, and I would just use it in less. As an artist,
I know,
it's
I
hard.
said that very marketing speak.
Right, that's right, and that's and I appreciate that marketing speak, because and your mission to help musicians market themselves, but I hate fucking thinking about marketing myself. I like thinking about connecting with people and fans, and I like thinking about sometimes the kind of art that I'm creating and the space between me and my audience. And
see, I want the space between you and your audience to shrink, like you're talking about, because that gives you more of a chance to engage with your audience, and then your audience grows organically because of that. Is that a different way of putting it?
That is how our audience seems to be growing, but I don't think that it's necessarily the way for all audiences to grow.
No.
Let's take an extreme example. Lady Gaga. Okay? She is so not human, she doesn't even have a human fucking name, right? Lady Gaga, right? Her whole thing is being human plus, right? And so her rolling out of bed, I mean, she might do this. I don't know. I don't know if Lady Gaga is periscoping, right? But the idea of her rolling out of bed and pressing record on the camera and letting her fans see that takes away from the mystique that she's creating through her art. That's her art form. And my art form is the opposite.
So it's actually less about, what we're saying brands. It's really more about goals. What is your goal? What is,
Yeah,
your
or
goal?
what kind of artist? What
I
kind of
meant, what
artist?
is your goal as an artist?
Right. What kind of artist do you want to be? If you're a children's artist, then probably not a great idea to, walk around a gig with a cigarette hanging out of your mouth, because your goal is to be an example for a child. It just, everybody's art is different, and so this is a challenge for me and something that I'm thinking about. What is my art form, and how can I most honestly get that across to people who enjoy my art?
Well, I think that from what I've seen of your scopes, that it feels very honest, and I
Thank
think
you.
that's what your music feels. So I
Thank you.
think you've kind of got an appropriate continuum there. And
Thank you. That's the goal. That's what I work for.
yeah, well, thank you very much for your time. I know you're very tired, and I really appreciate you doing Take Two with me today and being on the inaugural Engage Your Fan Base podcast on the Blab platform. And I want to invite people to check out the blog, engageyourfanbase.com. It's got all kinds of tips and how-tos on how to help connect with your fan base through different marketing techniques and stuff like how to use Facebook and how to write band bios and all the stuff that the DIY musician needs to know to to make yourself able to do this on an everyday basis is my goal. So anyway, thank you so much, Adam. I really appreciate your time, and
Thanks for having
I
me.
will be in touch. Take care.
All right.
I think we just hit the little X's. Bye, honey.